Week 4 recap. Pull up a chair. Have a seat. Grab your favorite snack. Grab your favorite beverage. Cheers to another hard-fought week. Extensive notes here. Week 4, 1 month, already done. Already done. Every week there's been a shootout. And this is the second week in a row involves King Henry losing. Dude, King Henry is putting up a lot of points. He's scored over 100 points every 4 weeks so far. That's the first time I'm pretty sure he's ever done that. He hadn't had the best luck with fantasy. 2 years ago, he had the 6-game winning streak. Last year, last place. Already has 2 wins. He's matched his total from last year. Can he surpass it here? I already told you he lost, so no, he'll have to wait till week 5 to do that. Despite scoring 150, the only other team that scored higher than 150 was his opponent, and that was Stroudy with a chance to beat ball. She wins 154 to 150.72. Another tough loss for King Henry. And yes, those of you who were asking, he did start King Henry this time. Another 30-point outburst from Derrick Henry. Has to be the number 1 ranked running back in the league. He had the most points in week 4. 35.9, just absolutely obliterated the Bills. Exposed their defense. He had 5 players at 18 or more points. Obviously, including King Henry. He has Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. Very hard to figure out who he wants to start each week, but he went with Jaden Daniels here. He chose correctly. He scored 1 more point than Lamar Jackson. And Jaden Daniels is the number 2 ranked fantasy quarterback. Wild. Real tough back-to-back losses. He almost pulled it out in the end. Tony Pollard in his flex had a big night, 18 points, scored a tutty, not enough. So what went right with Stroud with a chance to beat balls? Well, a lot of teams this week in week 4, they had some pretty underperforming players. A lot of players had season low, or there was a season low in points scored for the year so far. Well, she had some season highs. 23 points from the 49ers defense. CJ Stroud had the most points he's had so far this year. Same as Travis Kelce. Deontay Johnson had another outstanding game, over 20 points. Alvin Kamara, the number 1 ranked running back so far, 24.9 points. He's at 100. He's at more than 100 yards of scrimmage every game so far this year. He's the heart and soul of that team. If something happens to Alvin Kamara, the Saints are cooked. I mean, they still have Olave, and Carr, I know it's small sample size, but man, Alvin Kamara is the heart and soul to that team's offense. So yeah, she's happy she drafted him. She moves to a 3-1 record. King Henry unfortunately falls to 2-2, despite having these huge back-to-back weeks, back-to-back losses. Fantasy football, man, it'll get you. It will get you. Next, we have Love to See It against. I always just write down, it's short versions of the team names. So I think he's got a pretty mouth. Looking for his first win. Could he finally get it in week 4? No. Unfortunately, he's going to have to wait till week 5. He loses 119.98 to 111.82. This is the 3rd loss in a row for Purdy Mouth that was decided by less than 10 points. Him and Josh are having some really tough losses so far, but still very early, so maybe turn things around. DeAndre Swift had 19 points in the first 3 games combined. He scores 29.5 points in week 4. So needed some players to step up to try to get a win. DeAndre Swift woke up. Maybe he'll stay awake now. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong guys to start, wrong guys on the bench. Michael Pittman had 17, James Williams had 16, both on the bench. I mentioned some teams. A lot of teams have players that started that ended up having a season low in points scored. He had a couple of those. ETN, Flowers, Butker. Yeah, another tough, close loss. He could easily be 3-1. He's sitting at 0-4. So maybe October will be a kinder month for him. As for Love to See It, she improves to 3-1. She could thank Baker Mayfield, who is the number 1 quarterback in all of fantasy football. Just thinking back on the fantasy years that Baker Mayfield's had, prior to last year, he's been a free agent. Like, no one really picks him up just because he hasn't been fantasy worthy. But man, he is QB number 1. Man, he's got some great targets, dude. I love him in Tampa. It's going to be tough when he plays the Panthers, 2 times this year. But, the Bucks might be, I like them. So, Panthers, if they don't win the division, hopefully the Bucks do. It's kind of tough for her to figure out who she wants to start as well. Good problem to have. Baker or Jordan Love. Well, Baker scored like decimal points more than Jordan Love. Jordan Love scored 28 on the bench. Jordan Love's favorite target, Jaden Reed, scored 27 points, also on the bench. Also on Love to See It's team. You don't really love to see that, but she won, so it don't really matter. Stephon Diggs, he scored 18 or more points in 3 of the 4 games so far this year. David Montgomery, he has scored 15 or more points every single game this year, so got some consistency in some of her key veteran players there. She improves to 3-1. Next, we'll go to Micro Balls versus Patrick Mahomes. One of my favorite matchups I was looking forward to this week. Micro Balls looking to improve to 4-0. Patrick Mahomes looking to go 3-1. Which one's going to be? Micro Balls. Might need to change it to Macro Balls. Undefeated still. September loves him. 4-0. He wins 118-101. Jordan Mason, 24 points. Malik Neighbors, the number 1 fantasy receiver, scores 23 points. This is what Allen versus Mahomes kind of playoff, matchup here. Josh Allen scored 7 points. And for Patrick Mahomes only scored 13 points. So, not really an electric QB matchup here, but it is what it is. Jordan Jefferson led Patrick Mahomes for all scores with 20.5 points. Despite his loss, he's got a lot of wide receiver depth. Pickens at 16, who he started. He did not start Jackson Smith and Jigba. He had 13. Xavier Leggett had 19. And Wan'Dale Robinson 18. So if you need a wide receiver, hit up Patrick Mahomes. Next, we'll go to the Scranton Stranglers versus Catching McCaffrey. Another team looking for their first win and another team not getting their first win. Catching McCaffrey falls to 0-4. Knows my boy Owen. 0-4. Scranton Stranglers moves on 2-2. He wins 121-84. He had 4 guys and 19 or more points, including the heart and soul of his team, Kyron Williams. Might need to name the team after him because he is the team. 5 touchdowns in 4 games. Just the definition of production. He has the best combo of special teams. He's got Well, I don't know about the defense, special teams he has, but his kicker and his punter are both ranked second, respectively, in the Fam League. Young Wei Koo, he scored 56 total fantasy points so far this year. He had a nice 20 piece in week 4. His punter had 11.5 points, and like I said, he's ranked second, so pretty good in the special teams. Kind of like a sneaky aspect of fantasy football. So, speaking of sneaky, Christian Kirk, quietly 19 points. Another quiet performance. Kyle Pitts, goose egg, which I guess is not really super quiet. But, I don't know, sometimes the zeros can be a little quiet, especially if you score 121. As for catcher McCaffrey, Mike Evans led all scores 23 points. He had 5 of his 10 starters that had a season low in points, and his bench scored 60. So he's definitely looking for better games to come, in October. We're going to move on to Chubba Choo against, really should be Allen versus Predators. I was thinking, oh, dude, he just needs to change his name. But he does have Keenan Allen. So technically, he can keep it. Just not plurals, singular. I go on to beat Jay 133 to 110. I improved to 3-1 of the season. I had 3 players in 19 or more points. CeeDee Lamb at 23. This is the fucking kicker right here. Excuse my language. Hope kids aren't watching this. There was no kids in the league. My kid's asleep. We didn't hear it. 139 bench points. 133 is a great. I mean, most time you're going to win. Like, no problem. 139. You get outscored by your bench after scoring 133. That is just... That's crazy. I would have been so pissed if I had lost, if Jay scored 137 and my bench had 139. I would be so pissed. But so far, the way the year is going for me, kind of stuff is not going to happen to me. Well, at least September. It's a whole new month, so, any given week, it's anyone's game, So, but yeah, 139 points. That might be the most bench points in a single week in the family. I didn't quite look it up all the way, but I mean, that is just an absurd amount. It's just very unheard of. Of my bench points, 5 players had over 20 points. Kenneth Walker III, I'm like, man, he was questionable. Like, they said he's going to play. I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to bench him. Charbonnet has done really good. Well, of course, he scores 33 points with 3 touchdowns and was, super productive. That was a shootout of a game, by the way. So, the Monday night game, Seahawks and Lions, a shootout. Won a little bit of money, $39. So, kind of helped me cover for my spendings for, for week 4. So, well worked out. Last but not least, we have Easy, Breezy, Beautiful against Hertz Locker. The 2022 champ against the 2023 champ. The 2022 champ wins. She improves to 3-1. She wins 121 to 110. And speaking of that Monday night game, she had Jared Goff, who had a perfect game. Mostly you hear that term in baseball, not so much football, but did not have any completion. So shout out Jared Goff. Great job. Nico Collins had 33 points. He has 3 games of 100 or more receiving yards so far. Now, she did lose not Ray Rice. Rashee Rice had an injury early in the game. He got 0 points. Hopefully he comes back because he's on a couple of my teams as well. And he's a great wide receiver. Love to watch. So, as for Hertz Locker, he is now 1-3 of the season. Kind of having that championship hangover, it seems, but the only way you can cure a hangover is if you get back on it. So I'm sure he'll get back on it in October. He had a pretty solid week, honestly. 110 is pretty decent score there. 6 out of his 10 players were in double digits. He kind of just got outplayed. What hurt him the most is that suspected Chiefs running back suspected starting running back for the Chiefs. Carson Steele fumbled the ball early on in the game. Didn't really get many carries or action after that. He ended the game with negative zero point 0.4 points. So just imagine if maybe he like had someone else on the bench who threw in place of him. Probably could have won. So Carson Steele did not help him out at all. So maybe he will next week. I'll go ahead and throw the standings this way. So we got a couple teams that are off to the best start so far, the Fam League. Obviously, Mike Roballs, Ryan 4-0 start. It's the best start he's ever had to this point. Same with me and Stratty with the chance of meatball. So shout out to us. Nice 3-1 start. Best starts of the Fam League so far to our young Fam League careers. I'm only kind of thinking back to like 22, like 21, like there's only 10 teams and I didn't really make the video. So really 2022 is kind of where I'm like dating this back to. So I know I did not start 3-1 in 2021. I was like one of the last place teams. So, but anyway, pretty crazy stat here though. Kelsey and Kendra have started 3-1 every single year since 2022. That's amazingly impressive. So I don't know what these sisters got going on, but they started off the season pretty hot. So it's like not quite his best start to the season record wise, but he has the third highest points in the Fam League, and that is Josh King Henry's Court, just absolutely just crushing it this year. Like I said, he's only 2-2, but like he's like the third highest scorer. Like he's just under me by just a couple points. So that 2-2 is a very deceiving record. Easily could be 4-0. Other 2-2 record teams: Hatcher Mahomes, Grant Stranglers. We have our 1-3 teams: Allen versus Predators and Hertz Locker. And then the two winless teams. He's got a Purdy Mouth and Catching McCaffrey. Hopefully, you guys will join us in the win column very soon. Another little interesting tidbit: in week 3, all of the home teams won. I know like the away and home team like don't really like matter, but they just have it set up that way. All the home teams won in week 3, and then week 4, all the away teams won except for one matchup. It's pretty wild, little pattern there. So, yeah. We're going to go to our week 5 parlay. Last week, of course, the Dalton Schultz touchdown was the only thing that was missed. I literally could have chose pretty much anyone else for a touchdown. Dalton Schultz just helped your boy out last year. And I want to say the year before he was with the Cowboys. But I will say, he didn't get going till like halfway through the year. So I just had a little more faith in him than I probably should have. And obviously he didn't come through for me. So, but it's okay. I'm not taking it personal. It's my boy still. But that's the only thing I missed in that parlay. So that was a 4-leg parlay. I kept it kind of small. Well, I decided to basically double it for this week. So I'm a little greedy. What can I say? So this 9-leg parlay, if you put $10 on it, the payout's $476. It's pretty hard to hit a 9-leg parlay, but here we go. I got the Jaguars money line. The Colts were there without Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. Now I know Flacco can obviously lead a team to victory, but Jacksonville's had a couple close games where they could have won, and I just think that this week's the week to do it. So I think Trevor Lawrence, he's also going to throw for 2 passing touchdowns. I had that in the parlay as well. So I have Kenneth Walker third for a touchdown. I just think he's going to do it. In that game, they're playing the Giants. The Giants are without Malik Neighbors. They're without Devin Singletary. So I think Wan'Dale Robinson could have a pretty respectable, solid game. Plus 40 alternate receiving yards. It was like actually kind of like low. It was between like I think negative 200 and negative like 100s maybe. Like it was kind of like why? It's like He had like over 100 yards against the Cowboys on Thursday night, last Thursday night. So I was like, dude, that's easy. Should be easy. A little scary that's the odds are like that. So, um, and then their starting running back for week 5, Tyrone Tracy, 25 rushing yards was like a minus like 230. So I was like, that's just something easy I could just sprinkle on there. Hopefully it'll be easy. Hopefully it'll come back to bite me. The Bills, they have Khalil Shakir's out. He's been kind of like their main guy, main target for Josh Allen. I think since he is out, I think that James Cook will catch more balls, kind of act as a receiver, because they really don't have a clear receiver after Shakir. Like Keon Coleman really hasn't stepped up. He's still like learning the ropes and everything. Curtis Samuel's been kind of quiet. I kind of expect him to make some noise. But they really don't have like another target other than Shakir. You know what I mean? I know we got Dawson Knox too, but I don't know. So I do expect Josh Allen to be throwing the ball some. I think James Cook will have a nice day running the ball, though, as well, with Shakir being out. So I have James Cook 3 receptions, and I have him plus 40 rushing yards. So I think that's, pretty doable. In that game, they're playing the Texans. I have Cam Akers for a touchdown. The Ravens just ran all over the Bills, and I know the Texans don't have the run game at all that the Ravens do, and I'm sure the Bills have probably planned better for facing a run game. With Joe Mixon out and Dameon Pierce out, Cam Akers is starting once again, and he hasn't. I don't think he's found the end zone. I think maybe he found the end zone week 2, maybe, but or week 3, but I think he'll find the end zone here. So that was my last thing I threw on there. I was debating on throwing it on there, but I'm like, yeah, I'll throw it on there. Like Bills, really any running back. If it's like, 1st and 5 on the goal line, like, at least punch it in. So it's kind of easy, but that was the one I was kind of on the fence about. So we'll see. I'm sure what will happen is he won't score, but Dalton Schultz will. That'd be pretty funny. So. And last but not least, we have Tucker Kraft, tight end for the Packers. They have 3 receptions. Dobbs is out. Watson's out. So it looks like their only receivers are Jaden Reed, Dotavion Wicks, who's really come on strong past couple weeks, and Bo Melton. They still have Josh Jacobs, so I think they might run the ball a little bit more since they are missing some of their targets. But Tucker Kraft, he's been kind of slowly moving up the chart there past couple weeks. So 3 catches, I think it's pretty doable. Honestly, I think all these are pretty doable. Only ones I'm kind of scared about are Trevor Lawrence 2 passing touchdowns. But I just think he's got it in him. He's got him. The Colts defense is decent, but I just feel like Trevor Lawrence is playing way under what he can actually do, and I just think there's I just can't see them going 0-5. I just can't see this downfall being so bad. He's on a big losing streak too. No better way than to just kill that losing streak this Sunday. So, sometimes the anytime touchdowns kind of scare me. I know Kenneth Walker, he had that big week last week. It's like, oh, can he score another touchdown this week? I mean, he's like that though, So, and then Cam Akers, like I said, I was on the fence about that or explained about that. So we'll see. By the way, look at this sick t-shirt. Got that nice little vintage look. Carolina Panthers. Part of my little birthday celebration. Shout out to my wife. Love you, Kelsey. She is catching some Z's right now. But if you like this shirt, it is Abercrombie & Fitch. They have an NFL collection. I will put the link in my bio. Go check out the link. Go find your favorite team. They have hats as well. Crew necks. I'll be wearing. We got mostly Panther stuff. She got some Steelers stuff. We did get a Lions shirt just because they had a sale at one point, and so we're like, oh, since they're on sale, we'll get a team. We both kind of like. So we got a Lions shirt too. But yeah, if you want to check out the collection, be sure to follow the link in the bio, and you can browse and make some cool picks for the NFL, Abercrombie and Fitch gear. Very comfortable too. Very comfortable. All right. Week 5 matchups. The first week for buys. So the first week for buys, it's like we're kind of getting to the nitty gritty because not only are there injuries, now we got to deal with buys, and it's like really hard to make roster moves because it's like you got some guys on your bench who you've kind of been holding on to, but it's like now you got buys and now you have injuries, and it's like it's really hard. Like the roster decisions, it's like real cutthroat. So, the Eagles, Titans, Chargers, Lions have buys. Really, the Eagles and the Lions are the only teams that like are like, oh, like the whole offense, like the whole offensive like scheme, the whole offensive like I don't know. Both those teams obviously have like their whole like starting main offense like is a factor to fantasy. I mean, Titans and Chargers, like there's not really any like key guys in either of those teams that are like make and break your fantasy weeks, So, with that being said, micro balls, it's gonna be a little tough to keep his undefeated record. Malik Neighbors is out. Saquon Barkley is on a bye. He's got 2 other receivers on a bye too. So he was really low wide receiver, so he had to go pick one up today. I think he made a pretty solid choice though. So we'll see how it pans out. He's facing Love to See It. What a great matchup here. 4-0 versus 3-1. Love to See It's up 9.6 to 0. Next we have the number 2 ranked team. I've never been ranked this high like early on in the season, so they nice. I like. I'll be facing Kendra, sister-in-law. Easy, breezy, beautiful. I'm up 11.6 to 0. Then we have Strive with Chance of Meatballs 3-1 against the winless last place team, Catching McCaffrey. But he is winning 44-0. So he's got a nice head start. Can he keep it and finish this way? We'll see. Next, we have a nice matchup between the 6 and the 9 ranked team. We have King Henry's Court against Allen versus Predators. Pretty solid matchup here. Drake London. Had him last year. Didn't really get going until the end of the year. But man, he is killing it. What a smart draft move by Josh. He scored 33 points on Thursday Night Football. He's up 33-0. For Allen versus Predators, no Sam Laporta, no Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, kind of had to do some alterations to their roster there. Next, we have Patrick Mahomes against Hurts. Locker 0-0. They didn't have a Falcon or a Buccaneer in their starting lineup. I think Hurts Locker has Darnell Mooney, so I know he probably wish he started him. He unfortunately is going to start Carson Steele again because he does not have another running back to go in place of him. So I think Kareem Hunt is questionable. So if he doesn't play, that really helps Carson Steele there. Unless they use P. Ron or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who just came back. So I don't know. You might want to kick Carson Steele out, unless you got some faith in him, I don't know. You do need to kick out Evan Ingram, though, Bryce, if I make this video and publish it before 1 o'clock, which is going to be a little tough. It's already 12:25 a.m. right now, so, we'll see. But, yeah, Evan Ingram's out for him, too, and he has to start Deshaun Watson at quarterback for his lovely Browns because Jalen Hurts on a bye. So, a little roster alteration there. And last one on the list, we have the 8 seeds Grant Stranglers against number 11 ranked team Purdy Mouth. He's got a Purdy Mouth. And he is down 41-0. So Grant Stranglers has a nice lead on him. Can he come back and stop the winlessness? We'll find out next week. Good luck. Week 5.